What's something from the 90s you miss? Pre-911 airports. The innocence of the time. We still played outside but had some awesome multiplayer games that you played together in the same room. The world seemed to be heading for better and better things. Then 2001 happened. Walking 20 minutes to a mate's house, knocking his door, then finding out he's not in. It was like rolling the dice. Being able to act goofy without having anyone record it and share with the world. As weird as it sounds. Boredom. Now I have an endless supply of shit to keep my mind occupied. I never find myself wandering out for the sake of finding something to do. Trying to call everyone in my book to find someone to hang out with it. I think part of the problem is that the endless supply of distractions just aren't all that satisfying. They're rarely worth remembering or talking to people about. I don't really feel like I'm living. Just existing. Arcades. Big, noisy arcades. Full of actual video games. Whose graphics were 20 times better than what you could get at home. People who have heard deathbed confessions. What were some interesting ones? My dad had Alzheimer's and ended up in a secure ward. He was blind and almost deaf. I was visiting him one day. He didn't know who I was. But he started talking about me. He said I had done better than him in life and that he was proud of me. He was a quiet man IRL and never told me that when I was growing up. Looking back, he did things that my dumb ass never realized were for me. Like, when he retired, his colleagues asked what he'd like as a present. He chose a scientific calculator. This was back in the 1970s. He had no use for it. He gave it to me for university. I thought he was just passing it on, not realizing that he'd asked for it with me in mind. I don't know if this counts as a confession, but it felt like one. My grandparents have 3 daughters. Everyone always said that my mom was my grandfather's secret favorite. He never agreed. I heard he was on his deathbed on April 6. Went to see him on April 8. He was scary looking and the doctor kept saying he didn't understand why he wasn't dead yet. April 9, everyone but my mom had the chance to come and say goodbye. She doesn't drive and my dad works 10 hours away. My grandpa kept saying her name. Well, saying. He couldn't eat or drink, so it was more like a whisper. My mom came by on the 10th. He looked at her, smiled, whispered, "My Amy." He closed his eyes and never opened them again. My grandfather admitted to me and only me that he accidentally had sex with a man. Not my story, but that of a hospice worker who spoke to my class. For those who don't know, hospice is a method of end-of-life care that focuses on alleviating the emotional and physical pain of a dying person to ease their passing rather than combating their imminent death. One of her patients was a bed-bound woman in her 90s who was generally unresponsive but had flashes of recognition and engagement. It's hard to gauge the level to which unresponsive patients are detached from their surroundings. So they encourage family members to keep their company in hopes of soothing the patient. Now this patient was from a U.S. state that prided itself on its state university and the university's football team. The woman's family had attended this university for 4 or 5 generations. During her hospice care, however, her great-granddaughter was the first in their family to decide to go to a different school, the rival state's university. In fact, her family was supportive of her decision but often joked about her being the rebel, or Judas, or what have you. One day, they were all sitting around the woman's bedside, teasing the girl about her decision. Suddenly, the patient sat up, looked at her great-granddaughter, said, "Traitor," and fucking died. My partner's grandfather never spoke about his WW2 service. We are Australian. He joined after lying about his name and age, so we can't find any records. He would have been 16. We do know he was in the Pacific somewhere, and when he got back his lie was exposed, and because he was by then 18 he was drafted under his real name. And promptly arrested. He would do anything to not get sent back to fight. He got drunk, fought, and self-harmed. His adult life was spent mostly as an alcoholic and being a shithusband and father, though in his later years he was able to make some good. Grandkids appearing softened him. In his dying hours he relived his time at war. Some things he said. "Oh God, they are here. The Japs are behind us, sir. Stab him. Stab him. Fucking stick him. Help. Medic. All around." And he also had a string of names he kept saying. Such a tortured, broken mind. When I was in hospital, the guy in the bed next to me just asked to stop taking his meds as he was ready to die. Last thing I heard him say was, "There's no one waiting for me at home. So I'm going where they are." Wasn't really a shocking confession. Just a lonely and heartbreaking one. What's a compliment you don't like receiving and why? "You look so good without your glasses." Great, 'cause I wear my glasses literally every day. When people try to make my disability into an inspiration. I don't exist to inspire people. Particularly healthy people. To keep going. I'm just a person. Doing my best with what I'm given. People who know my sibling and meet me always compliment my appearance. Like, obviously mentally comparing us and choosing between us. Why these people have to say such shallow things and make their own friend jealous and resentful is beyond me. I also despise people who compliment one of my twins and then immediately badger the other one about not having the exact same achievement at the exact same time. Almost trying to set them against each other. For no damn reason. Not a compliment, but when people are surprised that I'm straight. Yes, I know I have a feminine face, but that doesn't mean I'm gay, Shannon. Being a minority who was born in the US. Wow, your English is really good. You're so cute and small. Quote. I am 150 centimeters or 4'11" and I kinda look like a 14-year-old girl. But I'm actually a 20-year-old woman. So hearing I am small and cute makes me feel not taken seriously and that they don't see me as an adult. If you found a book and started reading only to realize it was your life, and you got to the page where you find this book, would you turn the page? Why or why not? I would like to say that I would not turn the page. But I'm so damn curious I would probably flip through random pages of the rest of the book. Yes, because who the hell wouldn't be curious in a situation like that? No. That would destroy every moment from that point. But I'd gauge roughly how many pages were left. And live my life according to that. I mean, am I halfway? Are there only a few pages? I'd expect to find the rest of the book talking about how I found the book and what I read from it. Then how I found the book and what I read from it. Then how I found the book and what I read from it. Etc. I'd assume it'd loop like that until I stop reading it. https://u2.be/jnjv-ebi67. Your question reminds me of this video. I would turn the pages to find when I will be happy again. At this exact moment, how far away are you from where you were born? About 5 miles and 35 years. Just a couple blocks. I work in an offshoot of the hospital I was born in. 9,000 miles, or 14,484.1 kilometers. Probably 100 feet. My wife may be having our baby soon in the same hospital as I was. 3,951 kilometers. Born in Riverside Hospital in Ottawa, Ontario, currently in Kamloops, BC. A little over a mile. Born over 65 years ago. What's the best Father's Day gift idea? Depends on the father. My dad is a heavy coffee drinker. Likes peanuts. And he works out since before I was born. I got him some small farm Colombian coffee, 3 dry fit long sleeve shirts and a huge bag of trail mix. I can only speak for my dad, but he likes it. Because I'm an art student. When I make hand-drawn cards. So I'd say something from your work. Learn a skill for him maybe. If not, Toblerone always works. An entire day with absolutely no responsibility whatsoever. Most of my mates don't necessarily care for things. If you've made something or have a small gift. That is fine though. My preferences include experiences and acknowledgement. If I was taken out somewhere, park, beach, hiking spot, and told about what my family most appreciated about me, I'd be the happiest father alive. Barbecue, bourbon, whiskey, scotch. That's all I ever want and I've never once received it.
Subscribe, my brothers.